Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Dr. Joey interviews Christian business professionals just like you to discover their secrets for working faith positive in a negative world. Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett.
Faith Positive Nation, welcome to another wonderful episode of Faith Positive Radio. You know, today it seems like the way we make a living and a life is changing rapidly. And no longer, in fact, I was having this conversation with a family member recently, no longer can you sign up for a job with one company, stay there 40 years, draw your pension, and everything rolls along quite nicely, right? No, those days are gone forever. So what we have today are people engaging in contract work, and the shared economy has produced all kinds of companies and opportunities for people to earn money. Well, today's guest, as a Christian, really has stepped up into that space of alternative income kind of space and has this amazing publishing company that helps you and I understand what's going on in all these economic trends today, and to be able to find our way to living into our divine design and our calling from God. So it's an absolutely amazing privilege for me to welcome Only One Mike.
Hey.
It's onlyonemike.com is the website. So Faith Positive Nation, help me welcome my new best friend, Michael Giannulis. Michael, welcome. We're glad to have you on Positive Radio, man.
Thank you so much for being here. Like I'll say, you say my last name better than me, so I'm really impressed. Really am impressed. So, well, great job.
I was impressed when you told me that at family reunions, you're not the Giannulises, you're the Giannuli.
We figured. Yeah, you know.
Cactus, cacti, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Man, that's absolutely incredible. Well, the economy has changed a lot, and you spend a lot of time helping people figure out what's going on and how God's divine design. I mean, I know you come from that place of God's divine design.
Yeah.
You may not write about it a lot, but anyway, that informs what you're doing. So tell people about your publishing company, BPO.
Yeah. So, I didn't set out to create it. It wasn't like my goal at the very start. I got my start in this kind of alternative income space mainly because I was really bad at jobs, right? It was definitely not my forte. I mean, I would work. I was either really good or really bad at a job. So I would go and I get bored before we began to record, we talked about this, I would get bored. So I would go at this job and figure stuff out. And I can recall, being probably 20, 21 around there. And I had a job and I got let go from the job. It was like a temp agency because I finished everything in like maybe about 4 or 5 days. That's supposed to be like a 2 or 3 week program. Yeah. And they asked, and I went to HR and said, "Hey, can I just transfer to some other job?" And they said that I was too aggressive, and they let me go.
You didn't get the memo, did you?
I didn't know.
A slow step.
Yeah. I didn't really understand that. I was young, and I thought, hey, the better you do, you get stuff done. You go up there, right, and so I kind of spent a lot of time from 18 to about 24 trying different things out. Like I try to invest in real estate. I tried to start a whole nother story, goat farm, a whole nother story. Tried to start that. I tried so many random things. I would always kind of have like a job for some time. I worked for a while. I did overnight stock of shelves at Walmart. It's actually one of the jobs I had. And I kind of saw that, man, I was never going to really have the life that I would want if I just kept trying to find a job and try this job, try that job. College at that point for me was really tough too, because I would go and be like, what am I trying to learn algebra for? I don't get this. Well, how's it going to help me find a job? So it was from that side where I truly, and for me, I grew up, church stuff was always a big, thing for me. I grew up, my dad wasn't there. He was gone from about the time I was like probably 10. And because of that, though, I didn't really feel the void of that because I was so involved in church and I had such a great family that they all kind of filled in, you know?
Awesome.
But I think partially in my faith too, I always felt like God had a calling for me to do something bigger, you know? And I think we all feel that way in some way, but I really felt it. I was like, no, I've got something here. I just know it, you know? And so when I was younger, I like to say I sowed a lot of good seed because I went and I volunteered in churches from like 16 to about 22, 23. That's like all I did. I mean, I was broke. I was like dirt poor because all I did was like, I actually at the age of, I want to say I was 19, I was a full-time Christian school teacher where I was like a homeschool, but you did it in a school. So it wasn't quite, so I didn't have to be like a professional. I was more just like, did you do your job? Yes, you did. But I did that full time. And I also was the youth pastor at the church. And I also did the QuickBooks for the church. And I did all that to make the whopping salary of $75 every 2 weeks. That was my income. Yeah. Man. And so I did that for quite a while. And then I remember at one point the church board tried to vote that because I was already getting paid, maybe I could also be the janitor. And luckily the pastor said, no, it's fine. You don't have to add that in. So, but I didn't do it because I didn't at the time, I didn't think of it as, I'm going to sow my seeds. I just really was trying to help out, and so that's a little bit of my background. And I don't know, I have a tendency of going off on these long tangents. I think I maybe should have been a pastor is the whole thing. I think, when I come back to when I go down these long holes, but yeah. So basically when I turned 24, I was actually through the church world. My old friend from church introduced me to his mom, and she owned a publishing company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of all the things. And that's how I got into it. And she, I guess he told her about me. She went and read my site, only one mic. And I had just got that turned on. This was back in 2006. And she read some of the things, and she was like, she emailed me and she was like, Mike, I read your, post and whatever. And I think you would be a really good copy writer. And I was like, thank you so much. What is that? I have no idea what that even is,
But there was somebody else recognizing in you God's divine design and speaking that into your life. Oh, that's awesome.
And I didn't even, so then I found out from her, it's people that write ads. And I was like, wow, that's a job. I didn't even know that was a job, And so
people get paid to write.
I know. Yeah.
More than $75.
Yeah. So she ended up, she offered me a job, and I can recall thinking, I don't want a job. I'm going to do my own thing. But she was like, just try it out, do the job, and you'll learn. I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. So I did that. And I think I just had a natural skill for it. And pretty fast, I did so good there that after about maybe 6 months, there were other people in the industry. I was at this event, and multiple people had read some of my stuff, and they were like, hey, would you want to partner with me on this project? I'll give you this cut. I'll do this. I'll do that. And she heard that, and she was like, hey, you know what, Mike, I've been thinking I'm making you a partner. So she made me a partner in that whole thing. Yeah. So I was probably at that time 25 going into 26. And so till about age 28, 29, I was there. I just worked all the time. That's pretty much all I did. Right. And, I learned the industry. I learned, I met people, and I really focused on how to write to get people to take action, Okay. So it's so odd for me because sometimes I'll be even at like a church thing, and I'd be like, oh, they need to have a better altar call. They should have said this. They should have said that. Like
the ultimate call to action.
It really is. Yeah. So that's the one bad side when you really study it. You start seeing it everywhere. You see it like, oh, you
got NLP words running through your head.
It's like you need.
You should have said this.
That's why you got some churches that teach that say only a certain amount will get in, and I'm like, that's scarcity. They're just using scarcity. They're getting people to take action. Like I just think of all this stuff. But yeah, so
your friend's mom spoke really a prophecy into you, like here's your divine design that I see. You tried it out, figured out that this is your calling, and now you have this incredible company, BPO. Tell us about that. Yeah,
so it kind of started off with just a few people, and I had a few different partners, and over time they've either gone on to other things, or they sold out their part, or we bought them out, and now it's down to just two of us, and we kind of run the whole thing. And the crazy part, there's two of us that are the owners, but we've grown it now where our staff, counting our salespeople and all that, I think we're over 80 people now.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty awesome. That's the thing that I love. I love being able to create jobs for people, especially what's cool about what we do is we have no office. There's no like office where you go to. We may open up one soon enough, but we still have not. But we let people, they can work from home. We give them very, very flexible schedules, because we feel like if the economy is changing, we need to be in front of that. So we do our best to offer really, really good pay, very good benefits. Plus, we try our best to not say, oh, you're here from 9 to 5 and that's it. We try to let people, because we found that we've attracted a lot better people by saying, hey, if you got to take your kid to the doctor or run to the bank, go ahead, and it's funny because you would think that would almost be like common sense, but a lot of people, they're like shocked that we're that cool, so.
Well, talk a little bit about the changing economy, because we, so many of us read a lot about that, but you really are deep into this space, and the way that people are discovering their divine design and living into their calling has changed a lot today from the 40-year career with the pension now.
Yeah, I think that was the way it was for quite some time. And unfortunately, we're still being taught that. Like the social structures haven't caught up with reality yet. I can't remember all the stats, and I won't try to, I'm sure these are not the right stats, but I'll just guesstimate at it. But it was something like, all like 32% of people in the U.S. have a bachelor's now, I think. So that's about 1 in 3. That's a lot. And the thing is, a huge chunk of those people they work in unskilled jobs.
Right. Yeah. They're overeducated.
Yeah. And there's even a certain percentage of PhDs that work as janitors. It's like this crazy thing.
Baristas. Or
yeah. It's this crazy thing. And I think that our culture, it's an example of having the right intentions, but the outcome that comes out of that intention is not always a very good thing. So I'm not here to say that you can't or shouldn't have a job, because I think jobs are awesome, and I think we all should have jobs. But I think where we went off as a country is we almost made it where if you didn't go to college, you were a failure. Like growing up, I was hit and all the time, all I ever heard from at school, even back at home, it was like, you got to go to school. You got to do good in school. You got to go to college. And because of that, now we have so many people going to college, getting in debt, massive debt. I mean, it's crazy the amount. I just heard there's over $1 trillion of student loan debt in this country. $1 trillion.
Yeah, and it's been likened to the next housing bubble.
It is. It pretty much is. We went from stock bubble to real estate bubble, and now we got this new bubble. And
tell us about BPO. What is it that you write about that helps people discover their divine design and play without taking on that debt on?
Yeah. So right now, what we do is we create. As a company, we sort of have two different customers, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
Our first one that we're always trying to find are experts in unique ways to create income. So we have a guy who teaches people how to start their own e-commerce store. Okay. And then we're rolling out a guy who teaches people how to invest in real estate. We have a few people that we're talking to that one guy teaches people how to trade options. So that's like on the stock market. We have a guy that will teach people how to start, or I'm sorry, how to buy, fix, and sell companies. Oh. So there's all these very, very unique ways that you can create income, but they're outside the ordinary. And so because of that, what we do is we try to create different products for people depending upon where they're at. So we always have some kind of a freebie, here, go try out the first little bit of it. And so on the e-commerce side, we give away kind of like the first 6 steps of our stuff. You can go through it, sign up, and you're good. If you want to continue on, after you've learned how to build your own store, what we do is we say, hey, do you want to build your own store, or would you want to just pay us and we'll build the store for you?
Gotcha. So you offer some turnkey solutions.
And I tell you, a lot of people prefer that because the technology is a pain in the butt, So we have a whole team that has figured that out, and we got we design everything for them, customize it. We're kind of building that process down. So, and then for people that want to take it really far, we have even more advanced stuff, but it just depends on where your income's at, where you're at. We definitely tend to attract a lot of people like 50 and up because they're realizing, hey, I'm getting older. My retirement account's not where it should be. It says here I can retire for 6 months, and so they're starting to beans
and crackers. Right?
Yeah. So they're starting to realize, man, I need to do something to beat this thing up.
Wow, that's awesome. And Michael, tell us how your faith comes into play in this, because obviously you're helping people. Sounds like your target market's 50 plus, and they're trying to generate some extra money that'll take them on into to retirement. How does your personal faith come into play in all this?
I think one area for sure from the customer side is we're very, very, very focused on customer experience. So I'm not saying that we're always right. Now we don't screw up, because of course we do. Right. We do high volume, so there's always going to be things that unfortunately fall through the cracks. But we go out of our way to help those people. We offer refunds even when we probably shouldn't. Just because we don't. One, we want to protect ourselves. You get people that if we had a salesperson say something they shouldn't have said, we want to make sure that's not going on. So we're very, very, we even employ a full-time person. We call him the director of customer experience. And pretty much all he does is puts on the hat of being a customer and says, is this good? Is this bad? What was my experience like? We even have him go through and secret shop some of our processes. So he's viewing all of our content, he's talking, and then if customers are upset about anything, we call them right as fast as we can and do our best to resolve it. And it's kind of like in anything, what I've seen, you've heard of the 80-20.
Sure.
I've seen it for us. It's kind of been 80-10-10. So 10% of our customers take what we teach them and they just go with it and they do some pretty cool stuff. 80% play with it, but don't really do a lot. You kind of wish they would. You're like, come on, guys. but they're just kind of there and they just buy it and they read it or they review it, but then they're like, I'll come back to it, you know? And then you have the 10% that are the ones that are a pain, you know, that's to put it in a real nice
high
way.
Maintenance.
Yeah. So you know, we try to do our best to accommodate all three of those types. Right. And this is me being very broad. It might, it's probably not 10% that are a pain. It's probably only 3 or 4%, but anyway, that's kind of the way things break down. And so that's one big way that I think, unlike most companies, we've had people. Just the other day, we had a person who had something go wrong. I think she bought our store and then had like problem with her spouse or something. And she was asking, is it at all possible? You know, she's like, I know you've already built the store, but is it at all possible you could give it to someone else? I could get a refund. It would just mean so much. And, you know, our policy is no, we've built the thing. We spent all this time on it, but we just, you know, my guy said, hey, I think this would be a big thing for her. So I said, okay, you know, so we refunded her. And on the phone call, she started crying.
Oh, man. Wow.
Just saying, thank you so much. You have no idea the timing of this is so important to me. And, you know, so that's the thing. Like, you know, that part is a part that I like. I like that we're not this like corporate-y, like no refunds, you know, stamp them down type thing. That's one area. The other one for me is, and I think this is because of my past, because I did work as a pastor some. So I definitely feel like I try my best. I don't always do this, but I really work hard to take care of my people, you know, and I'm almost like a shepherd with the sheep, you know, thing. And you know, I hate if anyone ever resigns or goes on to some other job, like I take it personal, like I failed them, you know, I'm like, what, you know, what could I have done? And I just work so hard to try to be there for everyone on our team. So if they need someone to talk to, or they have a problem or some kind of, you know, something, I just want to just like Jesus was there for the disciples and all that. I try to recreate that in my own way, you know?
Wow. Yeah. And you spend so much time, not just teaching, but healing people as well, you know? And so it's an amazing opportunity that you as a business owner have to, as these people come to work, even though it's virtual, to form these relationships with them that are healing type relationships. That's amazing that you consider it that way. And I love the way you got it going both ways. You got it, the front facing piece of BPO, right?
Yeah.
With the customer experience, and your faith really drives there. And I hear it as a golden rule kind of thing.
Yeah.
You really want to help customers have an amazing experience, and you see them as people, not just as transactions, and you take care of your teammates. That's a beautiful thing. What kind of challenges do you face in your business?
I think for us, probably the biggest challenge that we face is there's so many, what you would call maybe bad actors in our space, in the make money from home kind of junk. And so we try our best to be outside of that, but there's so many people that have been burned by these, you know, fly by night companies that we almost begin our customer experience with skeptical people.
Yeah, you got two strikes against you before you ever get the first pitch.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's like if we don't respond to an email really, really fast, if we don't pick up the phone right when they call, it's a 0 to 60, boom, quick, because there's a lot of fear, you know, especially with an older audience with the internet. They're always being told about internet scams and all this bank wire fraud stuff. Right. So
which is real. You know, I'm not laughing.
I know it is real.
It is real.
And that's the hard part for us. So we get lumped into that category. So, you know, a big thing I'm trying to do is build a brand that can be trusted, you know, but it takes time to build that. And, you know, we work so hard. We have on the e-commerce side, on Facebook, we're like a 4.5, I think 4.4 on Google right now. We're a B on the BBB, so, trying to keep those things up and doing all those things. But I joke sometimes that I want to write a book one day called How to Sell to People Who Hate You. So, sometimes it feels like that at start,
well, Jesus said, blessed are you when you're persecuted for my name's sake.
Yeah. So made it like that. So that's something that we work on so hard, and I think we're getting better at it.
Because you're behind before you get started.
Yeah.
How does your faith inform your response to that challenge of being 2 strikes in the hole before you take the first pitch?
Yeah, I think for us, it's like what you brought up before, the golden rule. It's like, we just, that just means that like we have to be above and beyond for these people. I mean, there's often times when even me, and I'm a very sensitive type guy, so I try to stay out of the customer stuff because I take it hard. I'm like, so, but even me, sometimes I'll see stuff where I blatantly know the customer, to put it in a kind way, is not being totally upfront with what they're saying. And I'm kind of like, there's that part of me that wants to just blast them, with everything I could possibly think of. But then I just try to think, okay, where are they coming from? What experiences have they gone through to bring them to this point? And let's see if we can just resolve this in a good way. So, I feel like we've brought that concept down from the top down, where we're very, very much customer first. We're all about experience. Like I'm even changing the term customer service to customer experience because I think it changes the way you think about it, and that's what we're trying to do now, is just really be customer focused and do everything we can. My COO is going through a book right now about Zappos, and you probably heard about them and all their stuff. So we're trying to see what are things like that we can bring over to this side to help, help out more.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, Michael Giannulis, I just love saying your name, by the way, probably because I can.
You do it so well.
Yeah. Faith Positive Nation always wants to know from our guests what sort of inspiration they get from Scripture. In other words, what Bible passage or verse or something like that is really speaking to you right now in your journey as a customer of experience guru, if I could call you that, owning your own businesses. And so what Scripture passage really speaks to you right now?
Man, there's quite a few, but there's one that we talked about actually before the recording, and but I'll bring it back up again. And it's the one about talents and putting them to use, because I think about that all the time. So many people have talents, and the biggest problem I think with talents is when you have them, you don't see them. It's almost like an invisible talent. It's like you get
right out of your experience, isn't it? Because your friend's mom spoke to you, recognized that talent in you, and called it out in you.
And I meet so many people who are experts in things. Yeah. And we all have this thing that we deal with, and I still do. They call it imposter syndrome. Yeah. And it's basically like you never feel like the expert that you are. But I'll tell you what'll change that. Go to an event in that industry of people that are just getting started, and the things they ask you, you'll be like, I can't even believe that's the thing that people ask. I thought we all understand that. But what I love about the way Jesus told that story was that, different people did different things, and they were judged for it in the end. And so I often think about that, like, am I making the most out of what I have, what God gave me? Because that's a clear-cut time when Jesus himself in the story judged those people. And I think he was, and then the crazy part is those who didn't have anything, who had like I can't remember, what was it, the one, he took it from him and gave it to the guy that had 10. Yeah, exactly.
But and so because he didn't invest it, like what he didn't invest it.
Yeah. So, so
God confidence in you.
Yeah. And what that tells me a lot of, and I think this is unfortunately in our country right now, we've had such a focus on rights which are not bad, right? I mean, rights are awesome. We that's what we need, and we
want to respect each other.
We fight and we die for those rights. But what we don't talk about hardly anymore is the flip side of rights, which is what? Responsibility. And you can't have one without the other.
That's right.
And so right now we're swinging all about rights, but we're not talking about, okay, what am I going to do to help be responsible for those? And I think that story, that parable, it really points that out, that if you get something, so let's say that your talent was your right. If you're not responsible for it, guess what? Eventually it's gone, you know? And so I think that for me speaks not just to me personally, but even to this time right now. What we're seeing, I think, as a whole of this country is we've got to start being a lot more responsible, individually, corporately, in politics and society, the whole thing. That's a whole other side to it. And there's a lot of people now that are coming out and they're getting to actually talk about that. And the really a fancy thing is that it's attracting especially young men. And one guy that I follow a lot, his name's Jordan Peterson, and he talks about how he's like, who would think that I'm up here saying, clean your bedroom, take care of your family, get a job. And it's attracting young men. And they're like, I can do that. I can do these things, because no one's really teaching them that side of it. And I think that God built us with a desire now to produce, to work, you know, to put it in a weird way. We're like a pack animal. Like, you got to throw some stuff on us and we'll just haul it off, you know? And so, you know, that whole story to me ties all those things in. Like, you've got to take what you got and you got to put it to use. And if you don't, it'll be gone and you won't have anything to show for it.
Absolutely. Be good stewards of what the good Lord's given us. Wow. Michael Giannulis, somebody in Faith Positive Nation is going to want to reach out to you. How's the best way for them to do that? Yeah, so the best way to reach me is through my site. It's onlyonemike.com. That's O-N-E, so onlyonemike.com. I feel like it's a very pompous site name, but to be fair, I was 24 when I came up with it, so I don't know. You got all this traffic. I've been online ever since, so it's just kind of still there. But if they go on there, there's a contact form. They can find me on social. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. That's not my thing. I'm not very social on all those things, but I try. So I'm on there. That's why it handles that for you. And you very kindly are wanting to give something to Faith Positive Nation. You've got a book to give to us. Yeah, so I wrote a book a while back now, not too long back, and let's see if I have the site here for you guys. Yeah, so this is a book that I wrote called How to Obliterate the Blank Page. So I found that great title. How just cure the blank page. Right. Obliterate it. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of times when, you know, you got to write something to get people to take an action. Right. So that could be to opt in for your ebook, or to buy your course, or buy an event ticket, or, you know, whatever the thing is. You want them to you want them to read it and take an action. Well, that's what this book was for. It's questions and kind of like a step-by-step that you follow through it. And it's only about maybe 50 pages. So it's not hard thing, but you just go through it and you won't have to face the blank page. You'll obliterate it. And they can download that by going to onlyonemike.com/faith positive. Okay. And that's only one Mike, right? .com/faith positive. Yeah. Download your free copy of How to Obliterate the Blank Page. Michael Giannulis, thank you so much for the gift of your time today. I know I've learned so much from you today, and your story is absolutely fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate thank you. Transparency and authenticity, man. And just pray God's blessings on you and your incredible family, all the Giannuli, if I can say it that way. You got it. Yep. And we look forward to talking to you again real soon. Thanks, Michael. All right. Thank you so much. God bless, brother.
Thanks for listening to Faith Positive Radio, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work, so you love God and others more. suggest guests, and ask questions when you email Dr. Joey at info@getpositive.today. And be sure to get your free gift of the 5 positive business conversations to have today coaching program at getpositive.today. Until next time, may God bless you with everything your heart can hope for and more than your mind can imagine.